Hello, I am your host Chloe Brewster and welcome to The Creative Comeback, a love affair with the arts in podcast form. I talk to creators from all different walks of life, discussing the ups and downs of being a creative in modern society, delving into the nitty-gritty of the arts industries. Today on The Creative Comeback, I chatted to John Katz about everything music. John is a singer-songwriter from Southampton producing amazing original content he shares with his followers on Instagram. We talked about the impact of supportive parents when starting a career in music. I guess I'm going to start off with, why did you choose music as a career?
Why? Well, I'll big up to my parents really because I've always loved music. It's always moved me since I was really young, and then my parents were nice enough to pay for my guitar lessons, my keyboard lessons when I was younger. My dad would literally be driving me back and forth to guitar lessons every week. You know what I mean? And then really, it's just the thing in life that gets me the most excited. So I can't really, from literally the age of about 10, I couldn't see myself doing anything else with my life other than doing music in some way.
Sort of feel like you've sort of been bred from a young age to do music.
Yeah, literally, because people love to talk about like, oh, what do I want to be when I'm older? And it's like, it's a big thing. I'm blessed because since the age of literally since I first started playing the guitar, I knew that I wanted to do music. So yeah, that question's never been a grey area for me. I've always known. So yeah.
Sort of, where do you get your inspiration from when you're writing music and creating music?
Or I mean, a ton of places, and sometimes the inspiration just comes from like my emotional state at the time. Like there's an issue going on in the world, or it's a sunny day. Like literally the other day we had a really sunny day, so I just wrote a song about being buzzing for everything to open back up in the summer because that's just the vibes I was feeling that day. Like that's part of it. And as well, like I just guess like, because obviously I rap and I play guitar, so when it comes to the rap thing, it's like other rappers really. Like I might hear something crazy, like hear some crazy lyricism, and it makes me realize, shit, I need to up my game. And then it's the same with like the jazz guitar, like beat making and all that kind of stuff. Like I'll just be inspired by hearing something else and like thinking like, oh, like I need to like try and make something like that. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, I guess to some degree I have a bit of a competitive attitude towards it. When I hear it, I need to push myself, you know what I mean, to make sure I'm on my game.
I know what you mean, sort of feel like you've got to be the best of the best.
Yeah, trust me. I'm a bit of a perfectionist.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm always like striving to make sure it's 100% correct.
It's a blessing and a curse, man.
Honestly.
Mm.
Do you think
Especially
that,
when you got a deadline.
oh my God, I know, tell me about it. Deadlines are not it. Do you sort of think
No.
that COVID has like hindered your inspiration and your sort of like love for writing music and things like that?
In terms of like the writing and like getting down to the creative side, it's literally done the opposite. Like if I've been locked inside, like what else am I going to do in my time? I'm just going to make music. You know what I mean? So in that sense, it's done the opposite. But in terms of being optimistic for my future career within this industry, then it's completely hindered it. But yeah, like I'm trying to keep positive still. There's so many different ways to earn money in this industry. It doesn't have to necessarily be done through live performance, and I'm trying to just put my fingers in all the different pies, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, it's sort of one of those things that's like, if you believe you can do it and you try hard enough, you definitely can.
Defo, yeah. If you don't have that attitude, you shouldn't be doing it anyway, in my opinion. So like,
Yes,
yeah, you're gonna get burnt out. But yeah.
definitely. That being said, do you feel sometimes that there's a lot of pressure to still be creative even when the situation isn't exactly one that sort of inspires you?
Yeah. I noticed that at the start for sure. But I mean, I think it took some sort of like, I mean, I just need to realize on those days where things aren't coming together, let's just put it to bed. Let's do something else for the day. You know what I mean? Like it took me a while because at the start of this lockdown thing, if I had a day where I wanted to be creative and it just everything I was making wasn't very good, like it can be soul destroying. Like it can literally be soul destroying. But like I don't know, I'm getting better at just like cool. If that don't work, I'll go just do some exercise or something like that, and like just put my mind somewhere else if it doesn't work.
Yeah, I feel like as well as a sort of creative industries as a whole, everyone's got so used to having to work from home
that sort of,
Exactly.
I think it's going to be weird when we go back to not working from home, because everyone's going to be like, what is this? Like, this is so
Yeah,
weird.
people aren't gonna be used to that. It's gonna be you're gonna have to relearn everything again. Like I'm anxious for that time to come. Like it just sounds so crazy.
And it's interesting because it's like, oh, will some people prefer working from home? Like, will it become more like
Yeah,
things
that's
like
something
that?
I was talking about with some of the people on my course. Like some of the people on my course actually like being able to do the music stuff from home because they're doing it in their lecture and then they've got all their equipment right in front of them. So as soon as the lecture's ended, bang, let's get to work. You know what I mean? As simple as that. So for some people it works. For me, I don't know. I kind of like being there in person. I'm so buzzing to get back to uni. So yeah.
Definitely. Do you think that as a creative, you're supported mentally and financially?
Um. Wow. That's a banging question. Mentally supported by who? As in just
Sort of,
generally, or?
sort of like the government, university, and society as a whole, like sort of three different sections.
Okay. I mean, I would say society in terms of like when I go on social media and stuff like that. I think the support definitely is there. The university, the university as an institution, I'd say no, the support isn't there. My lecturers, on the other hand, my lecturers are brilliant. If I'm ever concerned about something, my lecturers will pull through, and they have pulled through. In fact, like in COVID last year, like they pulled through. Like when I was struggling to meet certain deadlines and stuff like that, and I'd explain my situation, my lecturers were so helpful. And then in terms of the government, I mean, I'm not I don't think the government are funding us enough, which is sad, but I'm just kind of not letting that get to me, like because I think I don't know, I'm just using this university period is a time for us to really hone in on our craft and hone in on our skills. So I don't know, I think I'm just trying to look inwards into what I'm doing as much as rather than looking outwards, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the
Mm.
thing, isn't it? Like, you have to get to a point where you realise that there's not always going to be someone to hold your hand the entire way through, and you sort of have to be like, okay,
Exactly.
just get
I think
yourself
that's one of
through
the
it.
biggest lessons I actually learned when moving to uni. I think that was literally the biggest lesson I learned, that like, because when you're at school, I had a really good music department at my school. They were really nurturing of my skills and like they really took care of me. But like now at uni, I'm an adult and it's like you know they don't give you some slack like they would at school because you're a kid. Like you're in the real world now and they treat you that way, and it's much more ruthless. That's for sure. I was not ready for that.
Definitely. And it's like the criticism as well.
Mm.
You're not taught how to take criticism. Because,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
yeah, I think definitely it could be funded more by the government, though.
Mm. I was talking about this recently with a friend. I think the funding would work best at a ground level in terms of like schools and like primary schools and secondary schools. I think where the real funding needs to happen, because the way I see university is it's basically just the great thing about uni is that you've got everyone who's so passionate about one thing all in one place. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas school is the place that, you know, we need to nurture those abilities and skills. But I think when you get to university, it's not necessarily about you're no longer being nurtured. Like you're just literally shoved into the thick of it with a bunch of people who all have the same mindset as you, well, ideally, and those people all working hard is what's going to push you further and really become the best version of yourself. I believe.
definitely. I think, yeah, with university, I think sort of because you have a passion for it and you're choosing to do it, it's sort of funded by everyone as a collective. Whereas, like,
Yeah,
doing some research before, and quite a few primary and secondary schools have actually withdrawn like arts courses, music courses, because they don't
yeah,
have
that sucks.
funding for the equipment. So it's
Yeah, that
one of those
sucks. Yeah, I
things.
would not be sat here today if it was not for my school and how good they were at supporting me as a young musician. Like they were incredible. So yeah, and I know for a fact, like talking to my housemates here at uni, they did not have that in their school. They did not have that in their school, and like art, like the arts brings so much to other people and just like personal satisfaction. Like it's something that really needs to be encouraged.
Yeah, going off that point is sort of like I think people don't realize how widespread it sort of is, and like You literally
Mm,
turn the TV on and that's all got people from hundreds of
exactly.
backgrounds in the arts industry
Exactly.
doing it, and it's like everything's sort of designed like even like your blooming microwave, someone's designed your microwave. So it's like
Yeah, exactly.
it's not, I find it weird that there's not more funding from a younger age.
Mm,
I guess like it's one of those things, just whether I think people just aren't passionate enough about getting that point across about it not being funded, and the
yeah,
government
I
just
think as well. I think there's this sort of misconception that you need to be talented to get involved with arts and things like that. When really, like people have called me talented many times, but I think like my parents were great, were like amazing enough to support and take me to my guitar lessons. And my parents, if I wasn't practicing, they'd be like, "We're not taking you to these guitar lessons if you're not practicing." Do you know what I mean? So you need to practice. And I just think anyone who had that support from a young age from your parents, like talent, whatever that word means, is not really the case. Like I think we need support from a young age to be able to create this talent, whatever that word means, you know, because I think it's I was just put in a good position, and my parents helped nurture it properly, and then the school I went to also helped. Like I think there's this misconception that young people, only talented young people can like prosper in the arts, but like we need to help create talented people, you know what I mean? So
definitely, like when I first started, I actually, before I went on to like the fashion styling side of things, I sort of started off, I used to sew as a kid, so my parents like,
okay, yeah.
same way your parents like got you a guitar and paid for your lessons, my parents like
Mm,
paid for me to have sewing machine and fabric, and then they'd sit there and they'd teach me how to do it and stuff like that. And I
mm,
think people don't realize that it's one little thing like that that can spark like a passion
yeah.
for something. And
Yeah, for real.
even though like I sort of moved away from it now, it's like,
Mm,
and I focus more on like the styling side of it, knowing what I know about like the way garments are created and stuff like that, it's like I wouldn't be able to do what I do now without knowing that. And I feel like,
yeah, something as small as that, just your parents getting you the sewing machine and like letting you just get creative with it. Something as small as that, like, is such a huge thing in a young person's, like, you know.
exactly, and like you said, and then I went through school and college, and they sort of really teach you how to like finesse those skills, and that's where it sort of
Right,
becomes.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like definitely. And then sort of a bit more of a broad question, what does music mean to you?
Mm. What does music mean to me? Wow, that is very hard to answer. I mean, to be honest, like the crazy thing about music is that you can experience every single emotion like from music. You can be happy, you can be sad. Like to me, music is it's like the height of human experience as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely. I think I agree. I think I agree. I definitely agree with you on the emotion side of things. What do you think a world without
Mm.
music would be like?
Wow. Wow. I don't. I think things would not look as nice. I think just it would be bland. I think like because even when you're just walking through a shopping center, like how everything looks is just tailored towards like the consumer and stuff like that. And like I don't think the world would be exciting at all without music, because it really opened the doors to like excitement beyond like something physical. Like it's literally just sound waves that your ear hears and creates a reaction. Like it's something very profound, like that just can't be put into words, you know. Like it's extraordinary.
It's crazy, isn't it? And it's like actually used quite a lot in like medical things as well. Like
Yeah,
they use it all the time to calm patients down and stuff like that. So it's like crazy because you just think how many things you take it away from, like TV adverts, like I said, shopping centres, hospitals.
mm,
People rely on it, I think, as like a bit of a hope for people. So
yeah.
I think it's like
I think so. Two of my housemates, they study film composition, so they write the scores and stuff for films, and that they'll show me the stuff they make, and it's like you never think about the music that's in films, and they'll take away the bit of like, it's just a little bit of violin that they've added in, that they've recorded or whatever. You take it away from their little video that you showed me, like the video is so boring. Like the video was literally so boring. As soon as my housemate Jamie put all his violin bits in, like it was the most entertaining thing I've seen. I was like, what is this incredible? Like just from the music, you're not even seeing anything. Like, and it literally adds that much to it. It's crazy. It's you can't put it into words.
I know, it's like you just sort of add a whole nother layer that wasn't there before when you add music into things.
Exactly.
I think, yeah. Do you think society would be different without the arts? Get it out eventually.
Oh, definitely. I think everyone would be boring. I think everyone would be so boring, to be honest.
I think it's hard to imagine because it's like we're so used to having it all the time. We're used to looking around and
It's
seeing.
number one source of entertainment for most people.
Exactly.
If it's not sport, it's art. If they don't want to watch sport, it's art.
Definitely.
But still, or like you watch a football game, you know, like the way things are designed before you watch it. There's always going to be some intro music before, like they're not inseparable. Like they're, you know.
And you just think how many things, like even if you watch like a documentary, that's got the arts in it because someone's had to film it. Like so many different things. Everything.
The camera angle, literally the camera angle is an art in itself. Like everything about it.
The way like buildings look, like someone's just decided this is going to look like that. Yeah. It's like you literally
trust me.
And like everyone makes
exactly
aware in the morning, so it's like you literally cannot get away from it no matter how hard you try.
Exactly. We are walking art when we dress ourselves.
Exactly.
I'm sure that's something you think about a lot actually as a fashion student anyway. You are just walking art. I mean, it's something I think about as well, like what you wear and stuff translates so much to the music I make. It's funny, like my lecturers, when they heard the type of music I make, like they weren't shocked at all just because of the way I dress, you know, they were like, oh, it really says something about your character and stuff like that, the way you dress, the way you come into uni, the way you talk. And then now I hear your music, like it's also linked with each other, you know.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. I mean, I've got someone else to interview next week, and I hadn't heard their music before, and then I sort of like looked through their Instagram, and then I went on their YouTube page and listened to like some music, and I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I imagined. Like you said, what you wear,
right? Yeah,
is exactly who you are. And I think it's also like,
definitely,
that I don't like on, I'll be in a bad mood and I'll be like, so like, I won't.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And I'm like, I don't want people.
If I don't like the fit of my trousers or something like that, like I'm like, nah, like, I feel a bit weird. Like,
yeah, honestly, I don't know.
So important.
It's just like, you just lose all confidence when you just like, I suppose you don't feel good. So you're like, oh,
it's true. It's very overlooked. Because it's the first thing people see. It's probably the most basic way you can express yourself, how you dress. I think it's probably one of the first ways you can express yourself.
I definitely think so. Do you think that, like, if we didn't have the art, worth living? Bit of a deep one there.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Do you think, like, if we didn't have the arts, life would be worth living?
Yeah.
No, it's a little bit deep for a Friday. But
that is deep. I mean, I would say it'd still be worth living. I mean, a lot of people get joy out of exercising, out of sports and stuff like that. I'd say it'd still be worth living. But I think we'd be much more bored, and we need a variety. We need a variety as well. Like, it's not like sport does one thing for people, affects them in one way, but in terms of the emotional level, I think art's really where it's at in terms of hitting someone on that deep emotional level, like beyond like connecting with other human beings in terms of your own brain. You know what I mean? Like art is probably like the main thing for that.
Definitely.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think like you said, like you could survive without it, but I think you would definitely be like, it'd be a very boring life.
Definitely. I don't know what I would do myself.
I know
what I would do myself.
Yeah. My entire life is based around it, so I'd have to rethink things.
Exactly.
Do you think that being like in a creative industry is an unskilled job, or do you not think it's given the credit that it's due? And like, do you think the government sometimes try and belittle it?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not an unskilled job. That's for sure. it's definitely not an unskilled job. I mean, I think there's a level to it where, I mean, not everyone is good at this stuff, right? Not everyone is good at this stuff. And I think there's a sense for me that we're trying to just like, you know, we should accept everything, even if it's good, but we do need to draw the line somewhere. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I do definitely think that the government do not give it the respect that it deserves a lot of the time.
Definitely. And I think, like, arguably, it's one of those things that because you have to nurture it from such a young age, sometimes it's almost like you've spent more of your life like sort of growing and developing in one certain section than someone who's just decided at the age of like 16 that they want to be a builder. Like, obviously,
yeah, for sure,
but it's like you spend your entire life aiming towards this one thing, and then someone's like, oh, but being a builder or being a scientist is more important than you are.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as well, growing up, I think it wasn't necessarily the thing that helped nurture me was just role models that were older than me, right? Like my two teachers at school, big ups Mr. Marchant, Mr. Hunter. Like those guys, like it was never necessarily like I looked for an establishment or something to help nurture me as a creative. It was more just I had good role models, good peers around me. And yeah, I was lucky to be in a good environment growing up. It almost the perfect environment for what I want to do. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a hard thing to achieve, but that I think that is the most valuable part of nurturing the arts, like putting these young people in the environment to be able to really prosper, you know what I mean, and challenge themselves.
Definitely. I think it's weird as well that they're sort of overlooked, considering some roles in the arts industry pay way more than any other job you
and
can.
Yeah, because if you really get rich in the arts industry, well, not rich, but if you start making good money in the arts industry, like it's good money. It's good money.
Well, I've been looking through at jobs and stuff, and I'm scrolling through, and I'm like looking at the paycheck, like the yearly paycheck on some of them, and I'm like, wow, I did not realize.
Yeah, like if you could get that, like doing what you love, like that is just the icing on the cake, really, isn't it?
Definitely.
Exactly.
Do you think that coronavirus has impacted the arts negatively, or do you think it's been a good thing?
Both positive and negatively. I mean, obviously the whole performance environment, I mean, doesn't exist right now because of coronavirus. Like people can't do that. But I think the good thing about it, which some people don't talk about, is it's incentivized people to, I can't speak for fashion, but for music, right, it's incentivized people to learn the nitty gritty, learn the music theory, learn how to produce stuff, because there's still work going in that. People are still asking people to arrange a 4-part string harmony for their new tune or something like that. And a lot of people who just maybe they just play guitar and sing or something like that, which is fine. But if like, I think going into, I want to make a career as a musician, you need to expand your horizons. Going into music as solely as a performer, and you want to just make a career as a performer is quite an unrealistic goal, in my opinion. Like, I think, yeah.
Definitely. I think it's the same sort of fashion. Like, obviously the goal is to be a stylist, but I'm not looking at doing other things like being like sort of doing the social media aspects or doing like the merchandising aspects. Like, I think it's definitely
that's a big thing with COVID. Sorry, I was just going to say that's a big thing with COVID. Like the biggest thing that switched for me is like just trying to work on my social media, just try to grow that more. You know what I mean?
I think as well, like the online community is so much more there now. Like you share one post and like literally you've got like 100 people that you know who are sharing it to different places, and then all of a sudden you've got like 100 followers in like 15 minutes. Like it's crazy how just one share can change your life.
Yeah, it is so true.
And in a way, I think sort of social media will change the future of fashion and music, because look at like TikTok, for example. You're getting songs on TikTok that from people who have never recorded music before, who've just put it on Spotify, and it's just gone viral on TikTok, and all of a sudden they're number 1 in the UK charts. Like it's unheard of to like.
It's crazy.
And like they've produced
honestly. is that like what you can achieve with a mobile phone in 2021 like is unfathomable. Like it's stupid what you can achieve with that thing. It's often very overlooked, I think.
Definitely. I think definitely something that will be added into like curriculums in the future, like looking at this time period
Yeah,
and how it's sort of changed music
yeah,
and art.
yeah. I never thought about it in that sense. Like, imagine being able to teach like young creatives about how to properly market themselves on social media. Because, like, I know so many musicians who say like, oh, I hate social media. Like, just I don't. I hate social media to an extent as well. But it's such a powerful tool, man. Like, you need to jump on and be posting stuff regularly if you want people to care about what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Because yeah, no one's going to read about you in the newspaper. No one's going to read about an article about you in the Daily Echo. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Exactly. I think we're quite lucky in the fashion industry because we are very much like, well, we do an entire unit based on marketing yourself online. So it's sort of like,
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm actually doing something like that. But I was talking about more at sort of like the school and like college level. Like if they could talk about that kind of stuff. Yeah, because I've got a module like that at the moment, like learning about marketing myself and stuff like that. So yeah.
yeah, I think definitely at school, they sort of just tell you like, oh, don't do this on social media, don't do that. But it's never like, well, actually, you can.
Yeah, look
Like,
what you can achieve with social media. You can change your life with social media, innit? Yeah, they just tell you about the dangers. Like, yeah, and that's important. But really, like, you can become rich from this thing, mate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people should be talking about that more.
like people are making like £40,000 a post. Like, it's crazy how much money it is.
Insane. That's insane. It's insane.
I think it'll definitely be like future generations will definitely be like the social media generations. We're sort of like
Yeah, for sure.
in
For
between
sure.
where we use it, but we're sort of like don't
Yeah, we
necessarily.
hate it at the same time. I have to put a cap on how like I've got like a half an hour a day Instagram thing, and I normally go over. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah,
yeah, like because yeah, especially like on those days where something really terrible's happened in the world. Like obviously we need to all talk about it, but it's just so sad and so depressing at the same time. And like you know what I mean, you just want to switch your phone off and just not do that because it's just gonna kill your mood for the day. So
definitely.
yeah, you got to find a balance. And it's hard to find a balance. Like it is hard because this social media thing is new. Like it's so new, we don't know how to deal with it. You know what I mean? So we don't know how the human brain really responds to like that much access to a phone like that. So you got to
Exactly.
be super careful. As amazing as it is, you have to be super careful.
Definitely. I think, and it's still one of those skills I think brands and companies and just public figures in general are like learning about. I mean, the amount of times I've seen
Yeah,
brands post things and gone, maybe you shouldn't have posted that. Not sure how you're going to get
right.
that sort of reaction. I think that's sort of where
Yeah,
teaching about it will be better in the future, if you know what I mean, because then you'll get a generation of people.
no, definitely, definitely. In terms of just like giving young people who do arts faith in themselves as well. Like you're like, if you can show someone how to market their thing through Instagram, you're really putting a lot of power into a young person's hand. You know what I mean? If someone's really talented and like you know how to market your social media, then yeah, like you can win. You can potentially potentially win. So it's like
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
it's definitely overlooked. It's definitely overlooked.
How do you look for opportunities sort of in the industry, and do you feel supported when you're making the choice to do things?
How do I look for opportunities? So are you talking about? I mean, because in the COVID era, making opportunities is far more difficult. I mean, if we talk last year before COVID happened, the way I was making my opportunities was just networking. One of the most important things in this industry is just being a good guy. Like, no one's going to hire you. Don't matter how good you are at playing the guitar. No one's going to want to work with you if you can't hold a conversation, if you're not approachable, if you even just how you look, how you dress, how you carry yourself around. Like networking is obviously the most important thing. And then at the moment, I guess with the way I'm looking for opportunities is social media, mainly, as we was just talking about, uploading things on social media and things like that, and just writing music and just sharing it with my friends and things like that. Like I'm still I'm still a student to the game. You know what I mean? I'm not and all the greatest stars are always a student to the game. They'll never admit that they're not. So yeah, I'm still learning personally.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, this year, past year has been difficult to seek opportunities. But I would say the same as you. The amount of people that I've worked with once and gone, I will never work with you again because you're the most difficult person I've ever worked with in my life.
Yeah.
Like,
trust me.
It always helps just trying to be flexible, I think, and just like even just having a smile on your face, even if like you don't know what to say, just gritting your teeth and smiling and just getting on with it, I think.
Yeah, I think it's important to diversify what you can do, because is what I'm doing a lot of like writing string arranging at the moment for like one of my modules, and I'm just trying to share all this because people know me as like it's someone who makes beats and he raps as well. Not like they don't know that I can arrange string harmonies and stuff like that for people if they want me to. They don't know that I can write arrangements for people and stuff like that. So I'm trying to work on that skill more and just like try to put that stuff out there as well so people can get a grasp of that.
Like opening up an entire new world of opportunities.
Yeah, and there's so many of those entire worlds of opportunities. The more worlds you can get involved in, the more work that
I sort of answered my next question, which was how have you developed your career? So I'll sort of change it up and say, how do you plan to develop your career in the future?
How do I mean, the main plan is to just work on my craft every day, really. I practice guitar every day without fail for like, I try to get a good few hours in, but it depends how much time I have in the day. I'm rapping every day, trying to get better at that. And yeah, like the main thing I'm working on is just getting good marks on uni as well. Like I want to make sure that I actually graduate with a first and things like that. So yeah, like that's where my head's really at the moment, just like really honing in on the craft and just making the connections, making it happen.
Definitely. And I think uni is always a good place to start, because I don't know about you, but we get a lot of either guest lectures in, or we have like lecturers that do our course full time, and they have their own magazine that they get paid by Rolex to advertise in it, and it's like you just got to,
you want to get in their good books.
Yeah, if you're one of their favorites, then
you want to get in,
fine.
Yeah, exactly.
What are your goals for the next 5 years?
Wow. Yeah, because the thing is, right, so I do loads of things, right? Like I don't, in music, like I'm this module at the moment where I basically have to just like make a video about all the different things I do. And my lecturers only just found out I rapped, do you know what I mean? And they just thought I played like jazz guitar and stuff like that. And like I feel like I have a very unique set of skills as a musician, you know what I mean? So sorry, repeat the question. It was what's my plan for the next 5 years?
Yeah, what are your goals for the next 5 years?
Oh, the goals. Yeah. I mean, the main goal is to just get better at what I'm doing and get more widely recognized for what I'm doing. But it also, like, I think what a goal is just to be a well-respected name within the industry. People know that they can call me to put guitar on something, or to produce their track, or if they want me to rap on a verse or something like that. People know that they can rely on me to arrange their string part for them. You know what I mean? Things like that is like, I want to, my goal is to just be well respected by people I respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Just sort of not look up to people, but like sort of be that good figure for other people to go, oh, look at what where he came from, look at what he's done in life.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like your goals, like reaching your goals, is supported by your mentors, your family, just basically anyone who's important to you?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. My family, without a doubt, definitely. And yeah, I mean, anyone who's older than me, I could think of a lot of people growing up who have seen, talent, as we've talked about, in me, and of help nurture it. So yeah, I definitely think so. I've had nothing but support, really. If I'm honest, I'm very grateful for that. I'm lucky.
Definitely. I think it's always nice because it makes you feel like you're gonna get there rather than be fighting like a losing battle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Switching topics up a little bit here, do you have like a specific aim to your work? Like when you create music, do you have like a political stance? or anything like that, or do you just sort of base it on how you feel?
Yeah, well, a lot of the time I might go into it, be like, I want to write something about this, or I want to write something in this style. But a lot of the time, like, it will just, I just go wherever it takes me. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I wouldn't say I have anything necessarily like politically charged or anything like that. But I mean, if there's issues that I want to speak on, like, to be honest, like I've had over summer, like, days where, you know, if I'm feeling sad about something, or if there's a particular issue, the way I vent my feelings now is to put it into a rap. Like, that's how I do it. So, and it's therapy, that shit. Like, that is, it's honestly, like, it's crazy. Like, yeah, I would say it's rarely like a political stance. It's emotional from my emotion, but sometimes as well, when I'm writing a rap, I don't necessarily want to write a rap about something in particular. I just want to, like, you know, just improve the craft of rap. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily, sometimes you don't want to have a message. Sometimes you just want to, you know, you want to just go at the mic, see what happens. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just want to just like try write a really intricate rap. It doesn't necessarily have to have a whole message to it. You just want to talk, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes it's those sort of like spontaneous ones that actually end up being like the best. Like,
yeah, the best stuff I ever write just like randomly comes to me, and I'll just knock it out in like an hour. I'll be like, yeah. And then like the stuff that doesn't come out as well is the ones that's taken me weeks. It's always the case.
I think it's sometimes that sort of overthinking it. Like, sometimes you overthink it and put so much of yourself into it that you lose what you're trying to say in the first place. So sometimes, like, and if you look at music, like, throughout the years, some of the best songs were the ones that just don't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Was it Bohemian Rhapsody? Wasn't that? I'm pretty sure that was the story, something like that. Like, the lyrics were just really random or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the most famous songs that's ever been wrote. So yeah.
Yeah, literally. And a lot recently as well. Like, the songs are just like have no meaning whatsoever, but like you just can't help but like sing along to it.
But love it, yeah. Because it's subjective. It might mean something to you. Those words might mean something to you. That's what's so great about it. Like,
exactly, and they're like easy to put memories to, I suppose. So because it doesn't.
Yeah.
You can put it for any sort of occasion. You go, oh, I remember when I was listening to that and I did this.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And my final question for you today is, what are your overall thoughts on the underfunding of the arts and how the creative industries have been treated during this pandemic by the government?
Yeah, cool. So the underfunding of the arts situation, I mean, my opinion on it is kind of, I mean, we need to underfund arts at a ground level and things like that. But I'm also kind of the opinion that it isn't the biggest issue. I think the biggest issue is looking inwards. And I'm kind of the opinion that your music should be able to bang without the help from any third party if you want to really succeed. If you need help from all these other places to help your music bang, like, you're only going to attract a very specific audience or whatever. And it's like, I think the ultimate person to make any change in this whole thing is yourself and your family. I think your family are very important as well. I think the home is really the most important part. And the second question, what was it about the pandemic?
Yeah, how like the government have treated the arts during the pandemic. For example, not funding the music venues and things like that, and only having a very small budget to save them and keep them afloat.
Yeah, I mean, it's so sad, like, the amount of small venues we've lost, like, from all of this. Yeah, I mean, it's a real shame that the arts is kind of like lower down the list for what we're putting money on. I mean, I'm not a politician. I'm not sure where the money should go, where it shouldn't go, things like that. It's so sad to see so many people's lives turned upside down and losing their businesses and stuff like that. Yeah, like, I'm not sure if I'm really like, the government need to help must help everyone as much as it'd be amazing if they could. it's just like, what would that be at the cost of is the thing. And I don't believe for a second that the Boris Johnson really puts the money in effective places anyway. But there's so many industries that have been completely destroyed from coronavirus, and there were going to be small businesses who had to lose, unfortunately, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and it's so sad. But yeah,
definitely. And I think it is horrible what's happened, and it's horrible that so many venues can't open their doors again. But I think as well, at the same time, it will definitely be one of those things that people have been so deprived of seeing, like musicals, seeing live music, going to art galleries. And I think that when you are allowed to do those things again, I think they're going to bounce back, because people have missed it so
much. The industry will boom.
It's probably end up being, it will go from probably its worst to its best quite easily, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Look at the festival scene. I mean, Reading and Leeds sold out in minutes, didn't it?
Yeah, so did Boomtown. I'm pretty sure they all sold out crazily.
Yeah,
crazily. I think as well with the government funding thing, because like that, it's important. Don't get me wrong on the ground level, but I think the most important thing that I think about is that there's always something to work on. Like lately, the Wi-Fi in our house has been like really, really bad, and we're like getting it sorted, and we're all complaining about how bad the Wi-Fi is because we can't like get on the internet to do like our creative work and stuff like that. But then, like, you know, it dawned on me, I've got all this boring stuff that I really need to practice on the guitar. I don't need Wi-Fi to do all that boring stuff. So I think people need to keep in mind that there's always something to work on. Like the more nitpicking you get with your craft, the better you're going to get at it. So I think that's something that's often overlooked.
Definitely. And I think that's a good point, actually. We do all complain when you have to use 4G in your own home or whatever. But I think I've got so many things I could sit down and do, but you just don't choose to do it because it's exciting. And it's like, that is what's going to get you to the level.
Yeah, like especially because I'm sort of at the stage of my guitar playing right now where I need to practice loads of boring stuff to get better, you know, because like I've got to a certain level where I am, but if I really want to take my playing to the next level, that I need to do a load of really, really boring stuff. So like when the Wi-Fi don't work, I try my best to just go and do that for a bit, and like, yeah,
definitely. I think it's just one of those things. It's sort of like we've all learned how to deal with it, and I think at the start everyone was complaining, and now we're sort of getting to a point where we're so used to it that actually we're thriving.
So used to it, yeah. We're thriving, yeah. That's that. Yeah, it's weird because I've gone through phases. The start of lockdown, like as soon as we got locked down, I was thriving loads. I was like, right, cool. But then I went through a period like maybe like September, October. I was like, nah, this is shit. You know what I mean? Like this is so bad. Like, yeah, it like, but as well, like people need to know, like we're human in it. Like that's cool for you. Some days you're gonna hate it. Some days you're gonna hate it, but you'll power through. There'll be good days and bad days.
Exactly. And like this project was supposed to be, I was actually supposed to be photographing people in their like workshop. So like
in real life, of course.
And now like had to turn it around, but arguably it's going to be way more interesting this way because it's a side that no one's ever shown before. Like we've not been in this situation before. No one's shown how to create from home. So I think it should be
for sure
be an interesting sort of next couple of years, I think, to see how things change and progress.
Yeah, it'd be it's scary to think about it, but honestly I think lockdown has created some insane musicians. Us being locked away, I know a handful of people who they got locked down and they thought, cool, let me just practice my instrument 8 hours a day. Like that's like, you know what I mean, like those, like lockdown is probably gonna create some incredible music over the next decade.
Definitely.
Oh, I think you froze.
Oh.